So Cyrus Sabouri, I work in the digital payment space for Mastercard. But my kind of journey in product management and in innovation, I feel like has been one really rooted in curiosity. So I think I'm going to repeat that term a lot. It's simple. I think it's obvious, but when you have something that is sort of triggering your interest, and you're aligning your work with interest, I feel like things happen very organically and naturally, and I feel like that's very much what landed me in my current role. So I'm from the U.S. Armenian, Persian background, but I grew up in New Jersey, born in Boston, but grew up in New Jersey. But that international background, I think, was also part of my curiosity. So if I think about my first kind of work experience and my first taste of product management, curiosity led me to the Middle East of all places. I finished my bachelor's degree in 2008, so obviously kind of a rough time to get into the job market. But I always had a fascination for globalization, the emergence of different economies. So not really knowing what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be in something in the business world, but not necessarily landing into a topic or a space. But using that word of curiosity again, I really just wanted to observe globalization in action. So that sort of naturally led me to explore opportunities in different parts of the world. But I really had this interest in the Middle East. If you think about what was happening back then, Dubai was undergoing a big transformation. Other countries in the Gulf area were transforming literally overnight. It's just incredible if you compare some of those Gulf states, compare 1990 to literally maybe 2005, 2006, and the growth that was taking place there. So that just really excited me, and that led me to pursue an opportunity at that time at American Express in Bahrain. So a place that I had not, been to before, and a place that was sort of a bit of a risk for just a 22-year-old person just to kind of make a leap. But that's really just curiosity, just fueled my interest for that region, and I discovered an industry in the process, which was electronic payments. And the opportunity space there was that you have a big global brand like American Express trying to resonate and find a way to advance the digitization of payments in different parts of the world. So that was very interesting for me from sort of like a more of an entrepreneur or entrepreneurial perspective. You have this area like the Middle East, a very affluent set of economies undergoing radical change, big time change. So that was just a space that was really exciting. And in that process, I discovered an industry which really also excited me. If you think about payments, it's really the backbone of an economy, the exchange, the value exchange here, underpinned by rules, processes, acceptance networks. So really, really fun and interesting for me. So curiosity number one was globalization and global markets. And now in that process, the curiosity continued to fuel. So if you think about payments, every transaction unleashes a wealth of data, consumer preferences, consumer interests, consumer needs, whether transactions are accepted or declined. So I mean, I can kind of nerd out here, but curiosity is key here. That interested me on what kind of information we could gather on a granular basis. So that allowed me to really just explore the payment industry very organically. And that led me to kind of think about another piece of curiosity. So you have curiosity for data, but what about curiosity for how things work? There's just in payments, there's this incredible multi-sided platform. You have folks who have payment devices, right? They're able to accept payments, and you have people who can make payments. So that multi-sided platform really interested me and really fueled me to kind of learn more about this space. And whereas I started more in kind of a marketing and communications role, I really evolved into a product management role, getting my hands dirty, really trying to understand what's going on in this space. Now, curiosity for globalization, curiosity for data, curiosity for how things work. I think there was one more piece of curiosity which I can't stress the importance of enough, and that's the curiosity to not only imagine but to also unlearn and relearn. There's a terrific quote that I just over the years have always looked back on, and it really just kind of gives me goosebumps every time because it makes me paranoid, but at the same time it reminds me that this is a continuous journey. It's a quote from Alfred Toffler: the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I thought about this for a long time, and it really clicked for me in kind of a silly way. I was back home in the US, and I was in a Starbucks of all places, and I observed how people were paying with their phones. And paying with your phone or paying with a digital device, very commonplace in many parts of the world. It hadn't really resonated in the US, and this was back in maybe 2012, 2013. It wasn't really a big thing in the Middle East either. We were using a lot of cards, and cash was still a big piece of payments in the Middle East. But when I saw people paying for phones, paying with phones, then that just really, in a way, shocked me. That was really the future. That's a space I want to be in. I really have to unlearn what I thought was the status quo at the time, which is that everything's around card-based payments. It's really now about using biometrics, tokenization, and using the ubiquity of mobile devices to be able to conduct commerce. So it was really that moment in a Starbucks of all places where I felt like it was time for me to really think about the next step in payments. And that led me to come back to the US, pursue my master's, and then try to get into the space of digital and mobile payments. And that's sort of where I am right now, is no longer in the card space, but rather in a space where we are looking for ways to use our assets at Mastercard to conduct real-time payments, digital payments, secure commerce, and really solve a very different set of problems than I might have been exposed to when I first started out in the industry. So, all in all, I feel like this kind of journey of curiosity has shaped my way of thinking about product management, and that's really, again, four things. You have to be able to build and sustain your product, so that's technology. You have to be able to know your product, so that's the specifications around your product. You have to be able to evangelize your product. Shamelessly, I was always the one amongst my group of friends advocating for my industry, advocating for my workspace, because I really felt interested in this and felt passionate about it. And then, measuring your product, analytics. So these four things really were shaped by just that magic word of curiosity. And that's sort of where I am now in kind of a fun role, and a pleasure to kind of connect with you guys today.